Someone we were just talking about, George Chidi, he is speaking with our Jennifer Bellamy live outside of the courthouse right now. We did hear from him briefly about an hour ago when he said that, you know what, my testimony is not needed right now. So Jennifer, can you talk to him a little bit about what he witnessed today in the courtroom? I see him peeking in there. Hi, George. How you doing?
You see him here. You see him here. He's ready. He's had a long day. They're asking how you are today because we know you've
fine.
We know you've
Everything's fine.
We know you've had a long day. Talk to us a little bit about what you can tell us about what you experienced today in there during that grand jury proceeding.
I experienced not much, actually. I went in at 4 o'clock. I wasn't expecting to be here today. In fact, I have Oppenheimer tickets, like the good one in Buford at the IMAX with 70 millimeter for 11:15, because I thought, like, how could they screw up an 11:15 showing at night on a Monday? Like, here I am. They called me early. I went in at 4 o'clock and I sat until about like 8:45.
We know with politics it's often a lot of hurry up and wait, but we also know that you stumbled into that group, that meeting of the alternate or fake electors. So I know that was part of what your testimony or what they wanted to hear from you about today.
Yes, although I will take exception to the term stumbled.
Okay.
And I say that because I was in a room full of other journalists, some of whom are here, but I was the person who noticed that one of the Republican electors was walking around. Like somebody who would have been an elector had Donald Trump won the state. This is a person that I had known since he was a child, but he wouldn't make eye contact with me. He was behaving strangely, and because of that, I had an instinct to follow him into a room with a camera going, and that's when I found the so-called fake electors doing their thing.
What?
And then they threw me out.
What was so important for you about being here today and also sharing your observations and your experiences today? I know you've been speaking to a lot of reporters. What is important for you about being in that space and being able to tell what you saw and experienced?
So, one, it is an extremely unusual and fraught thing for any journalist to be called in front of a grand jury. We are not agents of the government. We are adversaries. We have to be willing to challenge power. The only reason I'm here is because the stakes are what they are, because I think democracy is at stake. And if it was for anything less than that, then I'd be in an abandoned missile silo in Montana someplace. You know, this would not be happening. I think I had a small piece of the puzzle, and maybe not a necessary one. And that's fine, and it's probably a good thing that I didn't have to testify, because the big journalism questions about coercion don't have to be raised. I think we're fine now. But I think it speaks to just how damaged our democracy is. Like, we are right at the edge of losing our democracy. Because we haven't figured out how to resolve political problems like adults, like in courtrooms or at ballot boxes. And I fear that this country will descend into a sort of Northern Ireland state of faction unless we sort this out.
I know you have plans, so I want to ask you one final question. What do you think the folks, our viewers at home, who have been following along with this process, maybe some more closely than others, maybe some are just kind of cluing in these moments, what do you think people at home should know about this process and what's going on here in Fulton County?
So, one, we live in a very striated city. I was on the train this morning this afternoon coming here, and there was a guy who recognized me for nothing about this. They were looking at me because I'm doing a podcast about the YSL trial and the Young Thug case. Two Atlantas, one that cares about this and one that honestly doesn't. This is important. This is objectively important. But I think we lose sight of how many other problems there are in American society that we don't give this kind of attention to. And that's the kind of journalism I want to practice, is to make people look at those things. Because there's no shortage of coverage of this. I have never seen anything like this in my life. I got attacked like wolves as I came out of the building. But some person is going to be murdered in Atlanta in the next week, and there will be one news reporter who shows up and says something, and then everybody will disappear and nobody will care. And that's as much a tragedy as anything that we're talking about.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time tonight and your perspective and you sharing your experiences with our audience this evening. We thank you so much. We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio, okay?